All right, good morning, and folks. It is John from Casino Gaming Central here on House Edge Live. We continuing on our little, I don't want to call it a series, but our little discussion this week about bankroll, about goals, about kind of working your day, right? So what do we do when we're getting started? How do we get to a goal? How do we come back to even after getting our ass kicked, which is today's topic, and of course the fun one, which is how do you win a bunch of money when you're doing good? So I just really wanted to kind of get into this thing because of the way that I talk every day, about the bridge stuff, right? About, the casino kind of having the hammer. And I really liked my analogy last week with the bows and arrows. It makes sense to me to think about it in those terms. You really just don't have a lot of arrows. They have unlimited arrows in this fight. You don't have good ones. They have great ones. They have crossbows and we have sticks and string, right? It just is what it is. So the point is, go in there to that battle, to that fight with the casino, knowing this, right? And having a little bit of a plan to kind of get through it and survive that thing. If you just go out there, arms wide up, with a target on your chest and screaming and pulling your arrow, you're going to be the first one killed in that fight. What I want us to do is really have some tools that help us get through it. Right. So I talk about these things every day, and my talks every day kind of go through, these kind of ideas just in different visual ways of kind of showing it. Right. I'm really focused this week on goals, and I want to do a lot more goal work because when I get my table, actually, guess what? My table, my felt will arrive Friday. So I'll have my table set up for Monday morning show. We can do it from out there. Actually, have real dice being thrown. But I think my two biggest things here are goals and discipline, right? Having a goal, getting a goal, discipline to stop playing at the goal kind of thing, or playing at least with discipline once you're at goal. But I think it goes into more than that. You need discipline to kind of get yourself set up to go for the goal. And that'll be a topic of today. But if you're not smart, and I don't mean like you're a dummy, I mean like if you don't know the game really, really well, and you're not in touch with the two emotional pieces here, the emotions and the risk are two things that are really intangibles. If you aren't in touch with how you feel about risk and you aren't in control of your emotions, you're never going to be able to have discipline. And setting a goal won't matter. Like all these things to me is like this great stew, great soup. And it makes you not a better gambler, but not a worse one. You know what I'm saying? You can only get to a point, right? There's no great gamblers. You get to a point where you've got all the tools and you hope for the best. At least when variance comes your way, you can make good decisions, but you can sure as hell be a bad gambler by not having these things kind of in tune. Anyway, that's what I talk about all the time. This week, again, focusing more on goals and that sort of thing. And I really want to talk a little bit about this. Dan has a good point here. And I want to go back to this. He says something no one ever presents is how do you select which table to play? You have the bankroll to play at any table you want to. Which one should you belly up to? And that is an emotional question. So if I go back to the bridge screen, Dan, to me, the answer to your question is the emotional side of it. It doesn't matter. Like, I know there's people out there that teach and preach, chart the tables. What's it? Hot table, cold table, hot shoe, good shoe. I'm not a believer in that stuff. You know me. I don't mind being aggressive with the flow of the game. I don't mind following the shoe in Baccarat, for example, but I do not believe for 1 second that whatever is happening is going to keep on happening. I'm not an energy guy, right? I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe in superstition. I don't think charting the table matters. I think finding the conditions you want to play under matters. So I'm going to put your comment up here again. And maybe we should do a show on this, and I have kind of talked about it in the past, but choosing the table to play at it's a you decision, right? It's, I want to play at this bankroll level. So you're going to look for, and there's a reason for that. Okay. Playing at a $5 table gives you all the options. You can go from $100 bet down to, you can regress to $5 if you want to, and then ladder from there. Totally cool. If that's the way you want to play, then you got to find that table condition. But at the $5 tables, you're going to find a lot of fleas. And that's just the way that it is. If you don't want to play with fleas, typically you're going to look for a higher limit table. You're going to find a $25 table where you'll find less of that. You may find better craps dealers. You may, in air quotes, you might find a better trained craps dealer at a $25 game than a $5 game. If you want that kind of an experience, right? If you don't want a bunch of drunken sailors hooting, hollering, and high-fiving and bumping India and shit, maybe the $5 game or the $3 game at the Rio is not for you. Maybe you're looking for a $25 game at the MGM or Caesars, right? Where you want to be, or which table to play at, that big part of it is that it's this dictation of what's my experience going to be like. Do I like that dealer? Do I want to sit at first base in blackjack? Some people, only want to sit at first base or the end, that cleanup. It doesn't matter. If the table you want to be at is the right limit and you love the dealer, but you can only sit in the middle, then don't play. If you just, and again, not like player 1 or player 5 is going to destroy your hand, but you just don't like being in the middle, don't sit in the fucking middle. If you sit in the middle and you're pissed off because you're in the middle, you're going to make dumb choices. You're going to double a bet that you should, or you're going to double up the size of your base bet when you shouldn't, right? You're going to make the wrong call on a 16 or a 12 if you're in the wrong spot because you're going to be mad you're sitting there. So the answer to Dan's question is sit at the place that you want to sit at. And if there's no first base seats available at any blackjack table, then you're not playing blackjack today. It's just it. If you force your way into a table because you have to play, even though your spot's not there, then that's a you thing. That's your emotions getting in the way. That's you just wanting to incur risk for incurring risk's sake. That's not a bankroll choice. That's not a goal. That's not discipline. That's all the other things of the bridge don't get to play in that session because you've wiped them clean by putting yourself in a bad spot. Do not put yourself in a bad spot. That's the answer to, I think, Dan's question. You belly up to the table that you want to play at. And if craps is your game and you want to be at the end, when I was younger, I wanted to be in the hook all the time. I always wanted to be at the very, very, very end next to the dealer because I was nervous. I didn't want to shout my bets across the table and I was not in control of the game at that stage of my career. I wanted to be next to a dealer so I could kind of whisper my bets and do it closely. If that spot wasn't available, I didn't play craps, right? If you're a shooter and you want to be stick left 1 or stick right 1, but only stick left 2 or 3 is open, don't play. Or at the very least, don't shoot from there, right? Whether you believe that matters in your shot or not, it matters here. So if your brain is telling you, I wish I wasn't here, I wish I was there, when something interesting happens on that table, good or bad, you're going to make a bad call. Don't make a bad call. Don't make a bad situation. And again, every casino table is a bad situation. You're putting up money that you're probably going to lose over time. It's a bad situation. Don't make that worse by putting your head in a bad spot. Does that make sense? Dan, I know it's a long answer, but to me, that's how I address the question. You go to the table that you need to go to for this reason, right? For here and for here. You cannot put yourself in a bad spot that could potentially make you make a dumb decision. I just don't want you to make dumb decisions. It's already hard enough to play. Don't make it worse on yourself. That's just, again, my thoughts. Skill, love this too. Knowledge and wisdom are two different things for sure. And what I'm giving you here is a little bit of wisdom. That's a wisdom statement. Don't play where you shouldn't play, right? The knowledge thing is your game. And I'll give you a good example. A lot of people say, I got a book up there that talks about it, and Dan has even told me this too, play UTH, Ultimate Texas Hold'em. It's a great game. It's a low house edge game. It's a great game, blah, blah, right? I don't know the game. I know poker, of course, right? But that game, I don't know all the nuance to it. I don't know what's the ideal time to go all in. When do you do the quad bet? I don't know like the really good strategy for that game. I won't play it. I don't play that game at all because there's an optimal way to play, and I don't know the optimal way to play. I'm not going to play it. That's an intelligence thing, not a wisdom thing. The wisdom is I'm not going to play because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But the intelligence piece, what skill is saying here, is knowing the game. If you don't know the game, you're lacking intelligence in the game. That's what you're saying, and it's such a different. There people get them confused a lot. But wisdom is experience. Wisdom is saying to yourself, I've been beat so many times by doing things I don't understand. I'm not doing them anymore. That's wisdom, and that's a little bit of discipline. All right, there we go. Let's get into today's thing. Now, yesterday, it's funny. I was making the slides for today's show, and yesterday's slide was labeled "Getting to Goal," right? and I had all these bullet points. Well, today I have the same slide, right? But now all I did was change the title. It occurs to me, and tomorrow might be the same thing. The bullet points are the same. All right. When you're down in your rack, what do? I say shaking it off. And here's this great quote. This is a Mike Tyson quote that you've all probably heard before, right? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. I think Mike Tyson has said that. And I think if you fought Mike Tyson, you probably understand the full truth in that. But today I want to look at getting punched in the face. What happens if you get down a little bit? And the answers to the questions are the same, or the questions you ask yourself are the same as they were when it was, how do I get to my goal? All right. When I'm down, you still have to know, what is the move I'm trying to pull off earn me? If this thing I'm going to do works, what can I expect it to produce? That's the same thing you're asking yourself if you're trying to get to goal. Okay. Second question was, how many of those moves can I afford to make? Well, if I start with $1,000, right, and I've lost $500 or $600, and the move I'm doing was $220, well, I've only got $400 left. I can do it twice. I might need to adjust my move a little bit, give myself more cracks at getting back at it. I may need to just say, well, it is what it is, stay where I am, but no, I've only got 2 cracks. I might even increase the size of my bets and do 1 move, right? Am I laddering, right? Another question I should ask in here is, what does my move cost? What does my move cost me to make? Okay. Am I laddering negatively or positively? Can I take my move that I'm doing and do something else with it? Is there a way to take the move and accelerate it when I'm down? All these things are the same, by the way, if you're ahead. Tomorrow, when we talk about we already got to our goal and now it's time to go ahead and really put the hammer down, right? Same questions, right? How many moves can I do? What does it earn me? And am I going? Am I laddering? That's going to be a positive. Am I progressing is tomorrow's question. Am I progressing the bets? All these questions get us to the answer. Okay. Let's take a look at my table and really get down and look at the answer. So here we go. Let me get my mouse out of the way here. Straighten up the table. Boy, I can't wait. I can't wait till Monday, guys. Wait to see Monday's show. Monday's show is going to be awesome. Can we move straight? I got my new table layout, which you've all already seen, will be here. I can't get this thing right. Let's gotta go that way. Everything's backwards in the camera. The new table's coming, but I also got these. I got mouse pad size versions of my craps table, my blackjack, and my baccarat, and my roulette. So I have the full size version that'll be out there on the big table that I can deal standing up with the wheel and stuff. I've also got tiny ones like this that I can sit here and do demonstrations of different games. Sitting down at this, it's gonna be awesome. Anyway, here we go. Here's the rack. I'll put it here. I'm not gonna do any field. We're never gonna use the field to recover a loss. I can tell you that. So I'll put the lammers here. Let's assume, okay, that we're down money. We bought in for $1,000, let's say. Let's say I was doing duck. Let's just again, duck and cover is easy to do, but I was doing duck and cover or some kind of a line parlay thing. Okay. What do we do now? I've lost $600. It's been a bad session. Now, I'm not going to have the argument today where we say, your whole bankroll is at risk or half your bankroll. Like there's people who say buying for 1,000, walk at a $500 loss. I would say that's ridiculous, right? To me, if I'm going to be willing to lose 500, just buy in for 500, lose it all. There are folks that believe very strongly that if you set a stop loss with your main bankroll, if I had $1,000, I lost 500, I should leave, because mentally walking with 500 is a different state of mind than walking with 0. Even though the dollars are the same, buying for 500, lose it all, buying for 1,000 and lose 500, it's the same net result. There are some people's brains who cannot compute the fact that it's the same, and losing everything is a worse feeling than losing half. So if you're going to play those mental gymnastics, that's fine for yourself. I don't play that way. My 1,000 is my 1,000. So let's assume I bought him for $1,000 and I lost 6 and I was playing duck and cover. And I go, shit, now what am I going to do? I was playing a 110 duck and cover before. Okay. I have to figure out, number one, how am I getting back to the 1,000? And I look at this in stages. So again, this is mental state for me. And this is the grind that I go through. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and preach to you. Well, I'm going to preach to you, but I'm not going to tell you how to do this. I'm not going to tell you this is the only way to get it done. I'm going to tell you this is how my brain works. And your brain may work completely differently. But what I want you to do is think about how your brain works. And as I'm telling you how mine works, put yourself in the same shoes. You just lost $600, more than half of your bankroll. Okay? So if you're over the mental hurdle of leaving with a 50% loss and you're going to keep on playing, right? At this stage, you've got a couple of things you need to think about. Okay, number one, I don't want to lose any more than I've already lost. Hopefully I don't burn the 400. But my first thing is not get to my goal of $250 win. If my goal today was 250, when I'm here, I'm not thinking about winning $250 today. Right? This is preservation mode. Again, this is John's brain, right? There are people who will tell you, you've got 4 bullets left. Let's say these are $110 bullets for a 110 inside thing, right? But you got 4 bullets left. Okay? Folks will tell you, bring enough money to play 10 bullets because one of those bullets may be the one that fires. One of these bullets might be the one where the crap shooter has a great hand and you can make not just your money back, but you can hit some massive win on the 10th one. That's a mentality. If you have that mentality, then turn the video off and go to play with your 10 bullets and just burn, and pray to God the last one is the one that you make $2,000 on. That's certainly a mentality. Trust my strategy. It didn't work 6 times, but I got 4 more chances at it. One of these 4 is probably going to work. If that's your mentality, then this episode's not for you. Just play your thing, do your thing. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't work, you lost the whole 1,000. And if your risk tolerance is okay with that, then who am I? Go do your thing. I'm not telling you that's the wrong thing to do. I'm just telling you be aware of it. If you're saying I'm bringing $660 so I can play the skill 66, and on the 9th one I lost, I have one block of $66 left. You've predetermined yourself to say I'm going to give that thing 10 chances to make me a bunch of money. If it doesn't work, I'm okay with losing 660. That's one option. Now, me, I've got a couple of stages along the way, right? I look at my next goal as winning halfway back. Well, the first one is to win 1 bullet back, right? My first goal is to win back at least one. Give me 1 bullet. Somehow I want to earn one more, get to 5 bullets, get back to 50%. That's my first goal, a mini goal. And if I look at it that way, all I got to do is focus on this $400 and making 100. What can I do in here to make me $100? I don't have to make 600 plus 250. I got to make $100. I'm going to bring it all in here. And in doing so, or so doing, I may miss out on something. My normal way of playing aggressively, I may miss a shot. I may miss a 30 roller. I may miss a 5 in a row in a shoe somewhere by focusing my betting on getting back that 100. But the most important thing in my life when I'm down 600 is to win back another 100. The days of going for the 250 win and walk are over when I'm down this far. So mentally, my brain says, win another 100. Okay, win one more black chip. That's the first goal. Give me a freaking black chip. Okay, back to 50%. My next goal is to cut the difference in half now. So once I got to this one, now I'm looking to get here. Let me get some chips out for you. My next goal is this, another 250. I want to break this to the starting point in half. I want to go from 500 to 250. I'm not going to always work $100 at a time. I'm trying to make another 250. I want to get here. I want to get to this stage where now I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 50. And I've cut the virtual stop loss of $500, or not really a stop loss, but to me, that's a nice round mental number. I cut it in half. Like, oh, all right, I got back. I'm close, right? To me, even that's an acceptable loss. If I've lost 600 and I got back to where I'm only going to walk away down 250, that's kind of a win. Because think about it. You were at 4, you've won 350, you've doubled your money effectively. Even though you were down, You doubled what was here, which is an impossible thing to do. That's kind of a miracle to double your bankroll like that. But mentally speaking, okay, I got back 100. I don't feel quite so bad about this session. I got another 250 out of it. I cut the loss in half. Now I'm at 750. I feel really good about where I am. I'm almost to the point now where I feel like I can go back after it, where I can go back and get to goal, right? But the next stage still has to be another 250. My next goal is here. Get me back to even. So it's earn me 100, get me a bullet, or whatever's the same for you. Get me a bullet back. If I'm down to here, by the way, right, where I have 2 bullets out of 10 left, it's not win a bullet. It's win 1, 2, 3 bullets or 4 bullets, right? I'm working those things that small. I'm working small things to get back the bullet, to get back to 50%. Then I want to cut my loss in half. Then I want to get back to reality. And if I can work myself back here, and it's a brand new session, and there's my 400, right? And there's my 600, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm back to even. That's fantastic. I might call that a day. Turning 400 into 600 is again, miracle. If you can pull this off, mentally speaking, you're back to square. Maybe today wasn't your day. Walk away at a tie and be like, fine. But if you get to here and now you can say, well, self, it's a brand new day. This might be the perfect time to walk out and get a cup of coffee. Go to the cafe, grab you a burger. Come back in with a fresh $1,000 bankroll, mentally recharged, and go for the real goal. Okay? I like to stage my comeback. Right? I'm not looking to take these and go and have a fire roll. Now, if what I'm doing to earn myself back puts me in a position to maybe take that shot, sure. Let's take a look at some ideas here, okay? I'm going to go back to, let me get some greens and some blacks here. I'm not going to play with a lot of red today, but let's take a look at non-craps games. That's why I put the thing in here. And I'll use this spot over here as the betting area. I'll bet over here in the black. And again, we can make a 50-50 style bet. Okay, it doesn't matter what the game is. This could be baccarat. This could be, and again, I don't know if I would choose to win my earnings back at Bach or blackjack, but you're going to find a little bit of a streak in those games that you may not find in craps. Craps may not be the best way to do this because your bullets are a lot bigger. Okay, even in craps though, you could do a $25 pass line bet, right? You might need to bump out of duck and cover at this point. Okay, you might want to switch strategies. You might, like I said, I might go out there with a, and I'll show it to you, a 220 duck and cover, and say, you know what, I'm going to take a big swing to get back a bullet or two, and I'll show you how that looks in a minute. But let's work something more simple first. Okay, let's do. We can do either a 1-3, right, or a 1-2 parlay down here. Something very simple on your bet. One bet at a time, right? Again, your bankroll size determines your bet size. So typically when you're down, you're going to have a little bit smaller bet. I'm not going to ladder losses because I don't have enough chips to do that, but I'm going to try and catch a short, quick run. So if I win a unit, right, I may not even do a 1-3 from down here. At this bankroll level, it might just be a parlay. And let me just catch 1 in a row or 2 in a row before I start hammering my stack. Because if I win one in here, right, and I go back to a unit, right, my bankroll, my shortened bankroll is back to being okay. I have a unit in profit sitting here, and my bet's back. If we happen to win, now that would have been in the 1-3-2-4, that would have been your good win, right? It would have been your nice one. But now I can go 1-3 using the profit chip and restart that process from a better position than dropping more money out of my base stack. So my first thing is bankroll preservation. When I'm down here, it's like, well, you know what? Let's just do one and we'll parlay it, take the parlayed win, and we'll do it again. And I'll let that one sit there. And I do have that one chip from the first win. So when I win one, I can now do a 1-3. And when that 3 wins, we know that gets me a bullet back. Now, again, I'm not going to go to 1, 3, 2, 4. I'm going to go, whew, there's that bullet, man. I got back. That first goal of mine is here. I got a bullet. I feel, oof, look at me go. That's that first $100. The mental relief of being in this position, by the way, is enormous. The mental relief of being here, fantastic. Now, take your breath and make a decision. Because at this point, I got a little bit more juice in the rack. I can do 2 things here. I can go put them both out there, right? I might progress the bet. Take a 2-unit win and drop 1. Take one of my new ones and go to a 5, right? So I can do 2 to 5. And again, the 2 was those profit chips that I had. Right? There's my 1, 2, 3, 4, $500. I had the 2 units in profit, extra profit, right? Start with a 2, right? If I win, I will go from my rack with 1. I'll take an extra yuan. We're still doing like a 1, 3, but I'm leveling it up with a little taller base. Now I have 5 units. So when the 5-unit bet wins, and again, you're looking at 2 in a row. It's still 2 wins in a row, but the state of the rack becomes this. Watch. There's my 500. There's 600. There's 700. And there's 25. Remember my second goal was to get the 750? Well, I got the 725. If the move can be pulled off, and I get lucky in that process, I did a 1-3 and a reset. And then I did a 1-3 and a reset. Then I did a 1-5. I took the money that I won and went a little bigger on the base. I still jacked it up with 1 extra unit from my rack, and I got to that secondary goal, essentially. Now I'm here. Now I'm at 7.25, and I'm like, you know what? If I wanted to do something different, go back to my duck and cover on the craps table. I got 125 here that I can do that with. Right? If I want to do something else, like a 410 ladder or jump into whatever, I've got the extra dough to do it. Now, in that dill demonstration there, we would have won, let's just say 6 in a row to get there. We had a 1-3, we did a 1-3, we did a 1-5. That's 6 wins in a row, which is a miracle. If you would have just sat there with 1 and won 6 in a row, you know what happens when you win 6 in a row? Can I show you something? And this is going to be the FOMO piece, right? But if I just parlayed it 6 times, 1 wins 1. That's the first one. Okay. 2 wins 2. That's the second one. 4 wins 4. That's the third one. Here's 8 units, right? 8 units wins that. That's the fourth one. Now I got $400 out there that wins 400. That's the fifth one. And the sixth one wins $800. Right? You could have turned 1/4 in those same 6 wins into 500, 1,000, 1,500, 1,700. It's actually 1,675 because your first quarter's out there. Okay. If you would have sat there and did a 6-leg parlay, you left $1,600. That's you think, hey, God, you're nuts. This is what people on the craps table do, running for the hot number. Let me turn $66 into 1,000. You think that this is ludicrous? Well, I just showed you. That's what you're hoping for on the craps table. But to claw back to $700, doing a 1-3, a 1-3, a 1-5, to be goal oriented, to get myself back to where I feel like I can play again, right? I left this aside. I said, I'm not going to try for the 6-leg parlay to win $1,500. I'm not doing that. I'm going to win a few units, just to get myself back to where I can breathe again. Because right now, here, I'm pissed. We're all pissed that we lost $600. The answer to losing 600 is not to win 1,600. The answer to coming back from losing 600 is to win $300 or $400 and feel like, okay, whew, breathe it. I had to let that 6 in a row go. I have to let the 30-roller go because this is the most important thing to me. If turning $66 into $1,500 is the most important thing to you, again, this is not the show for you today. This is not what we're talking about. To me, let me earn back 1 unit. Let me cut the remaining loss about in half if I can. Now that I'm here at 750, Now we're having a different conversation. Maybe it's not a conservative play anymore. The 1, 3, 2, 4 is conservative. Even though it wins pretty good, you do need 2 in a row, and it does take 2 units, right? You can do another 1, 3, 2, 4 with a black chip and make your 1 size 4 like we did a minute ago, where it was size 2, right? You could switch tactics and say, with this money, let me come to the don't with a 1 unit bet. Let's get a point set, and let's put, some odds out there. Let's just put $50 in odds out there and claw it back with 3 units out of my rack. Now I'm willing to risk 3 units, not 2 units. See the difference there? I'm ramping my risk up a little bit. If we happen to grab the 5 and win a net 2, well, my next bet can be a 2 unit don't, and I've got 3 units sitting here for odds. And I'm not making any progress yet, but if we do happen to set the point of 4, right, and put out, let's say, $100 on the odds, just double them up, right? Just get yourself to where you can bridge it out, and I can win the 4 bet on craps. Well, guess what? There's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700. There's 800. There's 900. And guess what? I look at this like I'm basically even. One more bullet and we're even. You can do whatever you want. Now you can go. Now you can go and do something more aggressive. Go back to your original play that got you the $600 loss in the first place. But you got to wire your brain. I think, again, for me, I'm not a let 10 bullets go and hope that the last bullet wins me $2 grand. I'm not that player. I'm just not. I look at it like, again, stages. Stage 1, earn back at least 1 bullet. I feel good about earning back the bullet. My bankroll's starting to be tight. I'm marching my way towards. The second step, cut the actual original loss in half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 750. I've gone from 400 down to 500 down, and I've cut that $500 in half, and I've got back 250. Mentally, I'm in a much better place when I'm here. Again, first goal was 100. Second goal was cutting the loss in half. Third goal, get me back to even. When I'm even, it's a restart. It's, what are we doing now? Go back to what killed me in the first place? Keep doing what... And again, if your recovery plan was a different strategy or a different game altogether and you got yourself back, one might ask, just keep doing that. It worked. Why would you switch back to the thing that beat you in the first place? Stay where the hell you are, right? The move you pulled to get back to even was a good freaking move. It won you $500. Stay on that. Not a bad call to stay on that, right? If you've got multiple things in your toolbox and one tool is not the right tool for the job, you're trying to, use a Phillips head on a flat screw, you're just fighting City Hall for no reason. If the thing you're doing is working, then keep doing the thing that's working. And maybe today that's that. The next day, that thing that worked today might be the reason why you're down, and you switch back over to this game, and what beat you the day before is what works today. You just don't know what's going to happen. But have multiple tools. And I think stage your goals. I may miss out on that 6-leg parlay. I may miss out on a 30 roller. But God darn it, I'm going to have my bankroll back. Because the most important thing to me is not losing $600. When I'm down here at that $400 loss or the $600 loss, the most important thing in my life is not any kind of profit. The most important thing in my life is recovering from where I got to. The most important thing in my life is getting back that $600. I want that $600 back more than anything else in the world. That's it. I'm getting back to 600. If I miss out on something amazing, but I walk out here, I gotta be okay with that. My brain is going to be like, I don't care about the long roll. I don't care about the 6 legs. I care about getting my shit back. And then I'll deal with that later on. I'll go for something else later on. That's the difference between me and most people, right? But again, for you, I'm not telling you that's how you have to do it. I'm not writing a book that says this is the only way to recover. For me and my brain, I need a bullet. I need half my loss. I need even. Then I can go. To me, I stage that up. It helps if we go all the way back, let's go back to this screen here. If we go back to the bridge, there we go. we go back to this, right? My risk tolerance wavers. Okay. When I've lost a bunch of money, my risk aversion goes through the roof. I don't want to risk anymore. I want to get back. I want to do what I can do to get myself in a good spot, right? I'm tend to be low risk, rinse and repeat, grind into my way back up. When I get to a point where I'm either playing on profits only or I'm at my starting point, my risk appetite takes over and I'm like, let's go, let's get it done and let's pedal down a little bit more. My risk fluctuates. I'm not just a low risk or high risk person holistically. It changes throughout the day based on my bankroll size. And my emotions can get involved in that. You saw that. The reason why I go from down 600 to down 500, it's an emotional thing. It's like, okay, I feel not so bad about this loss right now. It's definitely me controlling. The way I control my emotions is to take small bites out of that apple, getting back. If I don't do that, if I'm trying to just pedal down to go from down 600 to up 600 in one swing, right? To me, that's an emotional move. My emotions will make me make bad decisions in there. To keep it clean, the tool that I use, the internal tool that I use to keep my emotions in check is to stage the comeback. To keep me even keel, it's win 100, win a couple $100, take the breath, relax a minute. That's how I do it. To me, the emotional control is not just I'm always in emotional control. No, I have to work at it. I got to think about it. I have to do things that keep my emotions under control. And yes, I will watch a 30 roller go by as I'm grinding out $15, $20 wins to get myself back that $100. It happens all the time. And I've said this a lot. How many times have you been down a bunch of, the last time I was at the casino with Ian and those guys, I was down, I bought him for 500, I was down to 100 and we had a 35 roller. I walked off that roll only being up 250. 35 roller, if it's the first shooter of the day, I'm walking out of there with $2,500, right? But I was down to my last 100. Grind, get a bullet back. Grind, get back at 150 so I can feel like I'm halfway home. Grind, back to even. Grind, hit my first win goal, $100. Now it's pedal down and the person seven's out. That's how I do it. And I have to be okay with saying to you, I missed out on a 35 roller because. But my emotions were never at risk. I never rail dumped. I never got pissed off. I just staged it back. That keeps me here. And when I'm here, I don't make bad decisions. Normally. So to me, discussions like this are how we work the bridge. You may have to miss something to keep your emotions in check. And when your emotions are in check, you don't do dumb things. So there it is. Let's go to some questions here. Let's see. I'm going to go here. I'm going to check the board and see. Oh, look at all these people writing paragraphs out there today. Let's see what we have. Let's see. Royce, I think wins and loss limits are important. If I went to the table with 3 shots, it's different. And you saw me yesterday with, if I'm looking to daily paycheck it, and I'll do this on my real table when we get there, $500, I don't have a problem going 330. And matter of fact, if I show you this, let me go back to the table. If my bankroll is 500 and there's $500, let me get these out. Let me get this shit out of the way here. Okay. And I have no problem going in 1, 2, 300 and $30. And I'll show you why. There's 350. Here is 20 and change. Okay. I have no problem doing this. If I'm there for the purpose of hit and quit, right? Because I know if this thing wins, I'm going to win 200 and some dollars. I'll win whatever it is, 2 or 315 I win, right? But if I go down, let's say we hit 1, we get $105 and I bring a number down and I 7 out right here, right? We know this, right? This strategy is great because duck and cover I'm talking about, because we get something back. Out 330, I got $155 back. Okay, that's fine, right? I can still go out there with the rest of my bankroll at 220, right? I can go to 220. I still have 100 and change left in the rack, right? I can try the move again. I know this is going to make me $140 if it works, and I'm back, right? If I go let's do 140, right? Bring one down. We'll do another 140, or let's say we 7 out here. We got, again, a quick 7. What do I have left in my rack? I can still go 220. I got it. I can go again 220. I can work my rack, right? And if I get this to work this time and I win 140, now I'm back at 300. I can go 330. I can work this rack from $500 with a huge halfway bet with a plan to come back, right? If that's how I want to play it. If that's how I want to play it. That's an important thing. Like, to understand that. Like, I know there's people that will react negatively and say, God, you're going to risk half your bankroll. But if the point is, I want to win a quick 250 or 300, yes, out and out. If it doesn't work today, it doesn't work today. If it doesn't work today, it's $500. It's not $3,000, right? I'll take the short crack at it. But I know going in what it's going to be. I've got a 330 crack. Then I've got either a 220 crack or a 160 crack. I can do the same thing, or a 110 crack. I can go 330, 220, and 110. I've got 3 options in there if I lose at that first one. I can rework the system down in a certain way, but I know that going in. That thing has a recovery plan that's different, and it's going in. All right. What do we have? Roger, bring 1,000 to lose 1,000, drop 600, earn back 750. Earn back to 750. Do I now continue to play or give back the new 750? And again, great question. And I think I said it during that demonstration, but if you have fought back, right? If you've lost $600 and I'm down to 4, right? And I clawed back to be at 750. So I've won 350 to get back to there. That's a miracle. You doubled your bankroll. What was left of your bankroll was 400. Doubled the 400 effectively to get the 750. That might not be a bad time to leave. Like I said, to me, I'm managing that rack, that progression to be like acceptable loss. $400 left in the rack is not acceptable. 50% acceptable. Let me get a bullet back. Move it to 750. I feel really good about that. I don't love losing 250, but it's not losing 600. Then you got to make that call, and you're asking the exact right question. Do you continue to play or potentially give back the whole 750? Well, that's a you question. For me, I'm trying to get back to even. I'm gonna play it in a conservative way to get back to even and make that call there. I can 100% understand going, man, I just doubled my bankroll from 400 to 750. That might be enough. That might be enough to go acceptable loss and boogie. But that's a you question for sure. Let's see. And Warner is asking the exact follow-up to the other question, right? Because where do I stop? Because if I did that, I can keep doing it, right? If you've clawed yourself back from down 6 to even, again, miracle. Think about that. You won $600 from 4. It's a miracle. That might be enough, right? You got to turn that switch in your brain off that says I can keep going, right? I think even old Jimmy did that, right? He had a video on his now stopped March to 50 series where he got his ass handed to him and he worked back to even, and like, that's good enough. Sometimes even is good. A tie is a win, right? That's okay. Yeah, I know, man, Matt, you probably should like the game, the energy and the love of the role and all that stuff, right? That's what casinos do though, man. They get into here, they burrow into your brain like a what do they call the earwig or something, and they want you to keep on playing. At some point, if you look at it like it's a job, like I'm here with this money to do this work to get out with this thing, that the taskmaster in me doesn't let me enjoy the game that much. I really enjoy the game when I come there fully expecting to lose. Like if I'm there, for example, this past weekend with 50 people and we're all playing together, that is literally taking 10 bullets and trying for a miracle and not worrying about the loss. That's not a grinder back day. That is, let's go for the freaking throat because we're having fun. That's a different, like the meetups we do, the big birds, little birds, different mentality than the grinder. Let's build our bankroll thing like we talk about. Warner, this is where Ken and Waylon come to play. They go for it with all that preparation where they don't really look back and think in the way of I'll win back a little bit of time. I think that they're looking at the bankroll differently, right? When you have a ladder system, right? And I didn't talk about ladders today, but if you're going to ladder up, then the loss doesn't matter. If you brought $1,000 and your first bet was $10 and you've got room for, I think that makes you have an 11-step ladder, then you don't worry about the loss, right? The loss amount doesn't matter because your bankroll covers it, right? Your bankroll is the loss handling system. You don't worry about it. When you're playing Ken and Waylon style with a negative progression ladder, what I just said doesn't matter at all because the bankroll already dictated what you're going to do ahead of time. You already planned to ladder up the loss and work your way back, and you'll be where you need to be in the end. For the rest of us who aren't playing ladders, what I said today is what I want you thinking about. All right. Let's see. You want to know what I do? Want to hear something bad? This is my my cheat code. Matt, I want to take a $5 chip from every table, win or loss. What I'm doing now is collecting these. I'm collecting blacks. Can I see you on camera? I'm collecting black chips now. I've got a chip. What do you call that thing? A chip display case out there that has all my friends' custom chips. And if I'm going to build one that holds 100 chips, I'm going to put blacks in it. So I like to get to the point where I win enough money that I can take a black chip home and say on the way out the door. I don't need that $100. I'm getting there to where I have enough. And every black chip, by the way, to me, every black chip here comes out of a $2,500 color up. So if I color up more than 2,500, one of those blacks is coming home. That's enough percentage for me to hang it up on the wall. I want 10 grand in one of these things over here behind me. So yeah, my collectible chips are blacks because I'm that kind of an asshole and a dumbass, right? Let's see. You are so calm when I see you at a table. That's funny. On inside, I'm burning up. You're right. I am burning up inside, but I've got really, and I'll tell you a story. You want to know why? How do I? I'm going to sit back in my chair. We'll have story time with John here. I got 12 minutes. I got a late meeting today. I've been through it in my life, and a lot of us. Raise your hand if you're old. By the way, if you're old like me, I'm 57. I'll be 58 in a couple of weeks. Been through it a little bit, right? I have lost 2 businesses, right? I had a software company. I didn't lose it, but I was running the company. We did great, whatever. All of this stress, right? When you run a software company or any business, I suppose, right? There's a level of stress. You've got payroll to meet. You got insurances to pay. You got, in my case, 5,000 customers that are clamoring for assistance and support and all this stuff, right? It's a constant ball of stress. And at home, you got a 3-year-old kid, your wife's pregnant, she's worried about stuff. And if you bring that home, then it ramps up the level at home. We can all relate to this, either being the person at home or the person coming home, right? What you've got to do is have tools. I used to go to counseling, tools to manage my emotions and my psychology so I could always stay positive. I always told a positive story. We're going to be okay. This is the plan, and the plan's going to do this. And when that happens, we'll be okay as a business, right? Always positive, always planning. My counselors always told me if I didn't have a plan or a target, then I would be spinning. I would start to spin, right? And they also said, keep the target close. If your target is next quarter, we're going to have to make, $3 million. You're going to be like this. If your target is this week, I'm going to close all the support tickets. And this week we're going to start a marketing campaign. And this week we're going to, make 5 sales. That you can relate to. You can stay on task. And when you go home, the story of the day is I had a great day because we did what we said we were going to do. Not, holy shit, I hope I get to this thing out here, right? I developed these mental tools over time from my life. It's not just me at the craps table losing $50. This is me having a multi-million-dollar business that I'm getting control of, right? Now, what happened in that business, by the way, you all know the story. I told it last week. I died. I had a heart attack and I dropped dead on playing ice hockey, and I lost a week in the hospital, right? And when I came out of that, you know what I did? Bye-bye business. I sold it. I kind of gave it away. I'm like, I can't do that. That stress, I can't take it anymore. That thing caused me so much stress and pushing so much down, couldn't do it anymore. Wasn't enjoying it, couldn't do it. But the tools that I left with was learning how to stage the goal, learning how to keep the attainable close to me, and stacking up small wins along the way to get to the larger thing. I also learned how to peel back and plan smaller wins and smaller staging to get to points. The reason why the Nexus app, by the way, is so successful and will be is because I did it that way. I didn't build it saying, I'm going to build an app that 50 million people want. I'm going to build an app that I want, and it's going to do these things. And then that's how you do it. And at a table, when you're down to a tiny stack, the way to recover is not to turn a tiny stack into a huge stack. Is to turn a tiny stack into a little bit, I can't hold the chips here, a little bit less small, and a little bit less small. You keep the target in front of you. Always be able to touch your target. One of my counselors said that. If you can't touch your target's too far away. Think about that. If you can't touch your target, it's too far away. If you're down $600 and you're playing with $66, you cannot touch a $200 win. I can touch a $50 win. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a $50 win. I can touch that. That's the question I asked before. What does your move do? If the move does 50, the move does 50, make your 50 and then do another move. Don't say my move makes 50, but I hope it makes 1,000, because that's going to destroy you. Right? That's going to destroy you. So, God, I hope that makes sense. I hope there's people, I hope somebody listened to that and understands that part of the story, because it is the key to it. This is such a key tool. This is the biggest tool you have, is your head and how it plays into your gut. So there it is. All right. Yeah. What do you see this, Tom? I'm going to show you something cool. Inside Hit the Split. Well, I'm going to show you something really awesome. This is a video that's going to come out in a week. I'm going to give you a preview of a new way of playing duck and cover, and then I'm going to leave. I'll leave you with a little teaser. Okay, here's my table. A little teaser. Okay, duck and cover, as you know. Let's do it at this level. I think this level's fine. We can do it here. We can go to that right there. Now, we know the regular duck and cover wins $35. Okay, I'm going to get some whites. We need some whites. Okay. Wins $35, and we come down to here, right? That's the way duck and cover works. And you win $35, right? And you all know the story. This comes down, and now I have my money back, and I can play. That's the base. Check this out. What if duck and cover didn't do that? What if duck and cover did this? What if duck and cover did this? You ready? Hold on. What if it paid $35? And I went, you know what? We're going to go take this 35. We're going to take this down. We're going to go 32 uptown. $3 change. 32 uptown looks like this. 10, 10, and 10. Bang. Right? Just like duck and cover, I have actually more than half my money back. I was out 110. I've got $58. I have more than half my money back. Not less than half. And I got 3 numbers covered. Right? On the low side, the same thing can happen. It can pay $35. I'm going to take this down and go 32 downtown. 2, 3. With 3 change. And guess what? There's my 110. There's my $6 in lock, and there's my 64 across. So in the same 2 hits, I'm set up to play the whole table, not just the inside. So instead of leaving 2 at green, you cover the board. Right? Isn't that cool? That works at 220. That works at 330. That works at 550. That same move on the inside, cover half, and be out in 2 rolls. Right? And if you want to keep playing, you can keep playing. If you want to be done, you still have won the same amount of money. You always win, by the way, 50, 60, 70. You always win $70. This way here, you get to play it quicker across. Anyway, that's the new and improved duck and cover-ish kind of a thing that you'll see a video on that from me and David pretty soon. But that's kind of an interesting thing. That you're saying split the sisters is more conservative. I think that's super conservative, right? Coming whoop, all the way down, and you're playing really low, super fast, right? Killer little system, which kind of like. Anyway, let's go back up here and be done. All right. Hope that was a good call, good discussion. Again, it's all here. When we talk about the mental psychology thing, it's all here. If your psychology is, I just want to win a whole shit ton of money, then what I said today should mean nothing to you. Just use your 10 bullets, hit the hammer, triple lux it, and go win $1 million. God be with you. If you're goal-oriented and you really are trying to stage the wins and start building some bankroll, the way I approach it today, I think is a good way of approaching it, right? Keep those goals, be able to touch your goals, be able to touch the next thing in line. Don't get something that's so far out, you'll never get there. Because if you're reaching and reaching and reaching and reaching, you never touch it, you'll be frustrated. Your emotions will take over and you'll make poor decisions, right? Your emotions and your psychology cannot handle non-reality. They cannot handle unattainable things. So I'm done. That's it. I'm off my soapbox. Did not mean for that to be today's lesson, but it turned into it. Have a great day. I love all you guys. Thanks for watching. Tell a friend, like and subscribe, do all the things. And with that said, God bless. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.